Welcome back into the Sky Pod, episode 6. It is a beautiful day out here in Georgia. I want to give a huge shout out to all my friends, family, service members currently serving, and veterans for supporting me. All the love has been love. I appreciate y'all. June 21st, Broken Bridges, South Carolina, huge veteran get-together. Me, Roddy Washington in the Snooty Lounge, in the Sky Pod, will be up and running for a big event. We encourage all the vets that we serve with to come out, have a great time, enjoy each other, reignite those old relationships, get after it, have a wonderful day. Please reach out to me via text, via message on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll make it happen. I appreciate y'all. Now let's just jump right into the topics for today, kid. PFF.com just released their NFL QB rankings heading into 2025. I only listed the top 13, and we're going to dive into the disrespect. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Joe Shiesty, Joe Burrow. 3, Lamar Jackson. 4, the reigning MVP, Josh Allen. 5, Jalen Hurts. 6, Jaden Daniels. Off of one season, man's already a top 10 quarterback. That's devious. 7, Matthew Stafford. 8, Justin Herbert. 9, Jared, I can't win in the playoffs, Goff. 10, Geno Smith. I'll repeat that again. 10, Geno Smith. 11, Brock Purdy. 12, Jordan Love. And 13, Baker Mayfield. I'll say that again. At 13, Baker Mayfield. So let's just start with number 5, right? Because I agree with Patrick Mahomes. I agree with Joe Burrow. And that's where you catch me slipping after the other ones. Jalen Hurts is ranked below Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Somebody make that make sense. The Jalen Hurts disrespect needs to stop. I understand they had passing problems last year heading into the playoffs, and I understand that not every NFL analyst is sold on him, but let's just talk about Jalen Hurts for a little bit, right? Jalen Hurts attended the University of Alabama. He won a national championship at the University of Alabama. Hurts was benched for Tua Tagovailoa in the national championship game, where Tua got all this hype for throwing a go ball to Devontae Smith on single coverage man high, right? Single safety coverage man high at the last play of the game, where Georgia messed up and Tua threw a go ball for a touchdown, which got him all this hype. But if we're comparing the pros, one guy's a difference maker in the locker room for his leadership capabilities, and the other guy can't stay on the field. The other guy can't win meaningful games. He can't beat teams above 500. The other guy is now one of the highest paid quarterbacks but hasn't won a playoff game. Jalen Hurts was the 53rd overall pick in the 2020 draft class. Was never expected to even become a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. In his draft class, there was Joe Burrow, the guy who he got benched for in Alabama, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, and Jordan Love. Here's the difference. He has the hardware. He's a Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion. He's the one who has been to the Super Bowl twice, dos. And he's the guy who's defeated and outplayed the best quarterback in the NFL on 2 separate occasions. He outplayed him in the Super Bowl when they lost, and he outplayed him in the Super Bowl where Mahomes got his hiney smacked. He's arguably the best leader in any NFL locker room, and there are player testimonies to prove it. He plays in one of the toughest sports markets in the NFL, in Philly. He's constantly dealing with criticism and hatred. Constantly has to hear what he's doing wrong. Yet in the 2 biggest games of his career, he outperformed Patty Mahomes twice statistically. In the playoffs last year, he had a 71% completion rating, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. I know what you're going to say. Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the league, and he got easy coverages, and he was seeing man coverages. Okay, cool. Troy Aikman had Emmitt Smith. Let's talk about it. All these Super Bowl champions that won with a great running game. Tom Brady wasn't even the best player on his team for this first Super Bowl run. Go look at the analytics. It was there. The defense won that Super Bowl against the Rams and cheating, by the way. Anyways, we won't talk about that. Jalen Hurts constantly, time and time again, has proven that he is a quarterback that is deserving of respect, deserving of a top 3 ranking. How are you going to have Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson ranked above Jalen Hurts? Because they're MVPs, but they can't beat Patrick Mahomes? Ever? They can't get by him? They can't even outplay him? But Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl MVP. I'd rather have a Super Bowl MVP than a regular season MVP. Playing straight up. Super Bowl MVP. Beat Jaden Daniels in the playoffs. Beat Matthew Stafford in the playoffs. The guy's a winner. He's a winner. You can't tell me otherwise. And it just needs to stop. We got to stop ranking quarterbacks based upon fan likability, based upon what the outside perspective is. We put Tom Brady up as the best quarterback ever, not because he had the best arm, not because he had the most flash. Yeah, he has the best numbers of all time, but you better accumulate numbers when you play till 45. We glorified him because he's a winner. So if Jalen Hurts is the Super Bowl MVP and he beat the best quarterback to do it, at least you could do is rank him top 3. Let's make it make sense. And then the only other quarterback I'm going to touch here is Baker Mayfield. We're going to rank him 13th in the league. We're going to rank him 13th. Last year, Baker Mayfield had 4,500 passing yards, 3rd in the league. 41 touchdown passes, 2nd in the league. He was the 4th passer in NFL history to record a 70% completion percentage, throw for 40 touchdowns, and throw for over 4,000 yards, and have more than 40 touchdown passes. He joined Drew Brees, Joe Burrow, and Aaron Rodgers for last season. He leads the league in passing touchdowns in the past 2 seasons since the Browns said, it's all your fault, and then he got cut from the Panthers, and then the Rams didn't re-sign him. He just leads the league in passing touchdowns in 2 seasons with the Buccaneers. And you ranked him 13th. He's made the playoffs and won the NFC South. Granted, it's not a great division. He's won the NFC South back-to-back times. And he's lost to an NFC championship attending team in the playoffs twice in a row. He lost to the Lions, who made it to the NFC championship game, and he lost to the Commanders, who made it to the NFC championship game. So that should tell you, and they're all one-possession games, that should tell you that he is kind of that guy. He's always in the playoffs. He's always doing what's expected of him. You're going to rank Jordan Love ahead of him, and I love Jordan Love. Jordan Love shouldn't be ranked 12th. We'll talk about that in another podcast. You're going to rank Geno Smith ahead of Baker Mayfield? Brock Purdy ahead of Baker Mayfield? You took Brock's weapons away from him, and he looked like Mr. Irrelevant. Period. And then he just got paid based upon past production. The Niners, you better hope he pans out without Webs, without Icy Webs. You better hope that works out. You're going to rank Jared Goff ahead of Baker Mayfield? If one thing is for certain now, and something you guys should recognize about Jared Goff, he put up big time numbers with the Rams in the regular season, and he put up big time numbers with the Lions in the regular season. And in the playoffs, every time, every year, you find out why McVay traded for Stafford. Every time in a playoff game, you go, you know what? That's why McVay did that. It makes sense. Jaden Daniels ranked ahead of Baker Mayfield after one great season. That's like ranking CJ Stroud ahead of Baker Mayfield after one great season. What did he do his second year? Yikes. I understand the Josh Allen. I understand the Lamar Jackson. I understand the Joe Burrow and the Jalen Hurts. But ranking Justin Herbert ahead of Baker Mayfield after last season? All the guys outside of the top 5, you could make the argument that Baker should be ranked the 6th best quarterback in the league currently as stands. I don't care if it's a recency bias. I don't care if he had all that controversy coming out of Cleveland. Ranking him 13th after joining a elite company, you're wild for that. You're insane for that, actually. Anyways, a big topic I want to cover is veteran discrimination. According to MyersLawGroup.com and a study they conducted in 2024, veterans may also be subjected to negative stereotypes such as assumptions that they have PTSD or are unstable in some way, which can make them feel unwelcome or uncomfortable in the workplace or school environment or surrounding environment they are in. In some cases, veteran discrimination can take the form of retaliation against those who assert their rights. Veteran discrimination, according to this study, is the most common within liberal areas. I want to speak on that because I feel like it's important for the point I'm going to nail home. I am no way, shape, or form impolitical in any sense, but I felt like that was an important nugget to throw. So first things first, as a veteran myself, one thing I can't stand is the thank you for my service. I can't stand it. I know some veterans appreciate it. They love it. Being a veteran is their identity, and I salute that. Not my thing. So let's speak on it. Thank you for my service. I think when you're, depending on the person, I think it's one of the most condescending things you can say to a veteran. I really do. Especially if it's disingenuous. Especially if you're against the patriarchy. Especially if you're against toxic masculinity. Thank you for your service, in my opinion, to somebody who really doesn't give a shit. You might as well just walk up to me and say, I have to do this because society says so, but I really could give a fuck. I don't care about you or your service. That's what I feel. If you hate America, if you hate what being a veteran in terms of the stereotypes that go with that, toxic masculinity, they might be too much, big personality, aggressive communication, just don't come up and say anything. It's okay. If you don't like me, that's fine, but don't condescendingly tell me thank you for my service when you really don't mean it. It's almost like the guy who's also saying, oh, I almost joined, bro. Yeah, I almost did it. Yeah, I was thinking about it. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You didn't almost join, you know? This isn't horseshoes. It doesn't count, you know? Anyways, sorry, my ADHD kicked in there. Veteran discrimination. So during my time in school, Orlando, I don't know if anyone's aware, very blue. School in general, liberal ideology. They preach it. And in today's wokeism, in today's world, being a veteran in areas like that can make you feel very uncomfortable. I mean, let's talk about it. During my time in school, and I can say this, I'm not going to name drop the guys that I served with, but during my time in school, I definitely felt like there was a lot of perspectives or assumptions based upon me that were very untrue. Having those assumptions that you have PTSD or you're unstable in some way just because of your background. In school, we had an identifier that notified the professor or whatever the case may be that you served. Granted, I was proud. I'm proud of my service. But it was almost like immediately when they found out, immediately the assumption was made and the perspective on my character was made, and there was no really changing that. And there was guys that, again, not going to name drop, who were also fellow veterans during my time in school, and they feel the same way. We're not going to speak on it. I mean, because we live in a world now where we care about, and I care about it as well, and putting the point of emphasis there, that we care about equality. We care about feminism. We care about weight shaming. We care about bullying. No one cares about veteran discrimination. And the majority of people listening to this podcast who are new to this or don't really necessarily care too much for service members or veterans or whatever. They're like, veteran discrimination. I mean, we'll play the Me Too movement. That's a thing. That a lot of vets who were there felt that harsh perspectives. They didn't really get to know the authentic you. Everything had to be PC. And if it wasn't PC, it was like, okay, get out of my face. Oh, thank you for your service, but I'm good off you. This, and another thing too, which bothered me was like, there's this like assumption that because you're a vet, and especially if you're a combat vet, that there's this assumption of unintelligence, that you're unintelligent in some way. Like, dude, what is the problem with people today because they think that you joined the military because it was your only option? Maybe I didn't have enough money to go to school. Maybe I wanted to travel the world. Maybe I wanted to get broken down to be built back up. Maybe I wanted to change my perspectives on life. Maybe I didn't want to go into student debt. Again, harsh stereotypes. And a lot of schools in blue areas subscribe to that. Dudes in my program subscribe to that. As if I'm this unintelligent guy because I served our country. Doesn't it kind of make you unintelligent because you took out student loans and you're mounds in debt? We don't want to have that conversation. I might have standards and discipline and whatever, but we don't want to talk about the way you stereotype veterans, but yet you're gonna pat the kid on the back who has bad hygiene. You're gonna pat the kid on the back who's overweight. You're gonna pat the kid on the back for being insecure and being a nerd. I mean, let's have that conversation. Environment dictates veteran progression. I believe that. Veterans just want to be judged based upon character, actions, and values, the merit of your character. But the problem is we have people who fill leadership roles within these schools who are looking for themselves within these students instead of upholding a standard where everyone can be judged on a fair level. I believe that. 100% I believe that. And I don't feel bad for saying that. And wholeheartedly, I could care less about politics. I could give a shit. I encourage everybody to have their own perspectives based upon their own life experience. Go live your life. Who am I to tell you that you're wrong? Because I'm wrong too. It's all perspective. And it's all subjective, by the way. But ultimately, if we live in a world where we ignore science, we say being out of shape is okay, and we make decisions based upon how others are going to feel, we make decisions based upon emotion, not principle, but emotion, I'm going to speak my piece about veteran discrimination. Anyways, men's mental health. It's mental health awareness. I want to speak on it. The suicide rate among males was 4 times higher than among any female dating back to 2022. It's still a problem. 22.9% of men kill themselves compared to 5% of women. Suicide is the biggest killer of men under 50. A man kills himself every 60 seconds. Why don't men seek help? Well, the deeply ingrained societal expectations that men should be strong, stoic, and self-sufficient, leading to a reluctance to acknowledge or address men's mental health issues. Fear of judgment, internalized shame, and belief that seeking help is a sign of weakness. Listen, man, I've gone through my fair share of suffering for the past 3 years, and I've been judged. My name has been thrown through the mud. I was in an environment when I wasn't fully embraced, and that was the first time in my entire adult life since starting my adulting back in 2015, joining the Army. That was tough. Being in a marriage for 8 years and all of a sudden it's gone, and then all of a sudden you see how people like perceive you and judge you based upon a divorce. That was tough. Having to leave Minnesota with a job that didn't fit my personality, that was tough. You have men out here. I know a guy who was married for almost a decade, put his wife on a pedestal, made sure she didn't ever have to work, food on her plate, clothes on her back, roof over her head, car to drive. And then when he got out to transition to figure out what career he wanted, She was nowhere to be found. Didn't want to wait. Didn't want to reciprocate that energy. Dude's still suffering. I have guys who get out of the Army and it's so tough to transition, and they get alienated by their friends and their family because of the outside perspective. It wears and tears on men, that fear of judgment. Then they internalize it and they believe that seeking help is a sign of weakness. I'm now able to talk about things that have hurt me and cut me deep due to my own self-evaluation, my own self-reflection. But a lot of guys don't want to do that. It's embarrassing. And with social media, where you have constant proof of people succeeding and constant videos of guys always overachieving, when you're not that guy, you feel emasculated. You feel like you're a bum, that you're a bench warmer. Well, I'm here to tell you, guys, men's mental health, if we're going to make it a point of emphasis, and it's now starting to come to light, but yet we're not changing the way society views men. And also, too, let's put into consideration as well, there's so many different definitions now of what a man can be in society. Nothing's ever going to change. Not all men get the same opportunity as other men. Not all men are self-disciplined or have lived a lot of life to understand what to do in certain situations. A lot of boys grow up in a single mother household. So this problem that we have with men killing themselves, I don't see it changing anytime soon until we have a solid definition of what the standard is for men in society. Because we live in a world now where there are so many different standards of what a man can be. Memorial Day weekend was just this past weekend. It was a time to honor and remember the men and women who died while serving in the military. Something that came to my mind was my former battle buddy, John Mursky. We served in Germany from 2017 to 2018. He was my fellow peer as the other dismounted team leader. The last time I heard from him was the last day before he passed away. He flew into ALC and he gave me a huge shout out before he came home or before he got to school. And we were going to link up before that. And the next day, after having a conversation with him, he was no longer with us. And you might not agree with our country. You might not resonate with veterans. You might not resonate with that build of a man. But appreciate the men and women that lay their lives on the line each and every day and sacrifice their freedoms to serve our country, to protect our borders, to protect the Constitution of the United States. Because without them, you wouldn't be walking today. You might be ashamed of our country's history. You might not agree with the institutions within our country. You might not agree with how the world was back in the day. But the whole point of history is to learn from it. Don't be ashamed of it. And don't villainize other guys for making that ultimate sacrifice, and don't make people feel uncomfortable for being patriotic, because just because you're patriotic doesn't mean you're a racist, or just because you served a country that isn't perfect and has oppressed and done terrible things to different races outside of the white race doesn't make you a bad person. We all learn from our mistakes. We're not our ancestors' mistakes. Give a shout out to those who have served our country, because there are families out there who have lost loved ones during their time in service, and they've made the ultimate sacrifice. So always show that love and appreciation, not in a condescending way. Not a thank you for my service, but in reality, you make me feel insecure. I don't want to thank you. Oh, you must have PTSD. I don't want to thank you. When you thank a soldier for their service, thank them because you mean it. And if you don't mean it, then shut the F up. You know? Anyways, I'm going to leave the podcast off with this quote, and then we'll get up out of here. The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his entire future by merely changing his attitude. Thank you for watching the Sky Pod. All the love has been love. Huge shout out again to all my friends, family members, and service members currently serving and veterans. I salute you. I love you. Chance, Crashy, Papa love you. You gotta go, Papa. There goes S.